part 2 of my video series for the day on Facebook Live. I promised Toby it would be a short 10 minutes max, and it was a little bit longer. I will do my best to make sure this one's 10 minutes or under. Now, if you're wondering why I like 10 minutes, 10 minutes I can directly add the video to LinkedIn. If it's longer than that, my skill set doesn't really get me to put it onto LinkedIn. Otherwise, it's the YouTube, and it's LinkedIn prefers you to stay on LinkedIn rather than move on to other channels as well. Look, talking about channels and movement and exciting news. First of all, I'm delighted to be with Grace Ballantyne. Now, I better get her title right, because this morning I got her title wrong. I called her Operations Director. So I'm more or less right. It's Head of Operations at Melt Homes. So Melt Homes is Evan McDonald. I think he founded it back in 2001. Don't quote me on the exact.
2, I believe. Yeah.
What one's closer to? In the early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. Now, the purpose of the video, partly to share what Grace is going to offer on Thursday evening on the panel, which is focused on young property professionals, investors, developers. But it's not focused just about the youth, it's focused about experience as well. And in fact, Grace was introduced to me through Piotr originally, so Piotr Ruskinek. So I asked him who should I have on the panel. Piotr's first suggestion was Grace. I have to admit, I didn't really know Grace at the time. And over the last few months, I got to know Grace a lot better. Of course, the purpose of the video I mentioned about Thursday, in terms of the structure of the video, it's quite structured about the market, about the news. We briefly touched on your position. I better get that right.
Yeah.
And the third thing is on terms of networking and movement forward as well. So the market, we were discussing briefly about your views of the market, the flat market, but you were talking about commercials not so flat. So look, so you think things have changed since the beginning of Brexit?
I guess a little bit. I mean, obviously the residential market is quite flat at the moment, although I guess we're getting used to that now, and I think there are deals to be done. I think vendors' expectations in some cases are starting to become a little bit more
when we
realistic.
say deals, we're looking not necessarily in central London, prime central London. We're still looking more outside prime.
I think there are probably buying opportunities in prime central London, but it's not really somewhere that I'm particularly looking at. But I guess zone 2 onwards and outwards, and then the wider part of the country as well. I think there's potential opportunities in residential, but it is a tough market out there, and there's a lot of competition, and we don't really know what's going to happen after Brexit. We don't know if the market's going to go up, if it's going to go down, what's going to happen. So it is a little bit more risky, and I think you've got to be quite careful with what you're doing, and you've got to get your numbers right, which is why I think as well commercial, which is where Melt Homes, soon to be Melt Property, is going. I think commercial is really interesting because I think there's a lot of opportunities.
So in terms of Melt Homes, so as I say, founded by Evan. And I know there's a little bit of background noise, but that's what we've got at all times in life. There's always going to be background noise. Right now there's lots of noise about what's happening in Brexit. We hear it all the time. So
if it's happening, when it's happening.
Yeah, sure. And in terms of Melt Homes, you've bought into the vision as well. So Evan, the founder of Melt Homes, has brought you on to move the operations to another level. We were talking about systems and how important systems are, and people talk about Roger Hamilton sometimes. I don't know if you've ever heard of Roger Hamilton. He talks about systems, landlord, and you fall into more of the systems role. So where do you see systems being so important into a company?
Yeah, I think in order to build a scalable business, you've got to have systems and processes in place.
So that's a good plug for November as well. November 28th is focus on scale. Adam Lawrence is at Central London Property Network, and so is James Pick. Both of them talking about scale. Sorry, just to interrupt you.
Absolutely. No, I think, as I said, in order to build a scalable business, you need to have systems and processes in place, and it can't just be, the success of a business can't just be hinged upon one person. So, in order to do that, you need to build a team, and you need to train that team up and put that into place. And I think that's an ongoing process, and it takes time to do. And it really is, going back to the business strategy, looking at what the goals and objectives are, and then filling those roles accordingly. And also looking at, I guess, what's right for that business at that time. So in some cases that might be bringing on board an internal team, and in some cases that might be outsourcing elements. And then when you get to a point where it becomes more cost effective and time effective to bring that resource fully internally, then that's a decision to be made. But that's what I'm effectively doing at Melt Homes, is really getting across all areas of the business, looking at what needs to be done, and then I guess solving problems.
No, I can understand benefits of systems wholly. Do I implement systems as much as I should? No, is a short answer. Last June I had some time off from hosting, organising, networking events. PR came in. Massive thanks to PR, Risk Connect, for coming in at that particular period. Did I have systems in place? Yes, I did. Were they really amazing systems? Possibly not. So it's interesting you mentioned systems.
Yeah, but it's constantly a work in progress, right? So you put something in, that's the fit for that moment, and then as the business continues to scale or things change around, goals and objectives, and you adjust accordingly.
Look, what are you most excited about what Evan's up to in Melt Homes as well? So it's not just Melt Homes. There's been a number of changes in Melt Homes in the last few weeks. I think he's brought in, is it Kunle Barker?
Kunle Barker, yeah.
Look, I'm not going to get all these names right, but Kunle, he comes from my understanding, a media background.
Yes, he comes from a background working in the media. He's also got his own construction business. And he's done a lot of work with brand designs and is well connected with the media and the wider property industry as well.
Look, I promised Grace it would be 10 minutes, and I see the time 50, so I've got 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes.
Time flies.
Yeah, networking tips. So this is the third part of the video. So you've done up to 5 networking events a week at times.
In my heyday.
Heyday, yeah. I think I've done up to 10 in a week. But doing numbers is not necessarily always the thing. It's about the follow-up. So I always listen to what people say about follow-up, because people got different approaches. So your approach on the follow-up is?
My approach on the follow-up, well, first of all, my approach is just to have a genuine connection with people at events and to listen, because I think a lot of people always feel like they need to be the loudest voice in the room, and that's not so much the case. You're not going to learn so much that way. So if you take a step back, ask people about them and what they're up to, then there's so much learning to be done from that. But then in terms of following up with people, I think, well, first of all, you have to do the follow-up, and I see 99% of people don't do it. But
I have to admit, I'm quite bad at doing it sometimes myself.
Yeah, sometimes we all can be. But yeah, I think it's actually, for me at least, what's worked is by being a bit personalised with the follow-up that I do with people, sending a text or a WhatsApp rather than an email, because emails get lost in people's inbox, and it's much more personalised, and you get a higher response rate that way. And
so text rather than email.
Yeah, because people actually respond to text messages, and emails could go to junk, or it isn't quite as personalised, and people kind of read an email and then move on. But you have more likelihood of people responding to a text message, but also shows that you've taken that time out of your day, to put a bit of thought behind it, and add them to your phone as well.
So look, I promised Grace it would be 10 minutes. I think it's a little bit over. So look, we've covered basics in terms of the market, in terms of networking, in terms of Melt Homes. We're going to go into a lot more detail, I'm sure, on Thursday and at other points as well. Evan, if you don't know, is the co-host of the National Development Summit. I haven't really publicised that so much yet, partly because I've got my monthly events, and that's where my focus is for the moment. How can people connect with you? LinkedIn is one way, or?
LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, so just my name, Grace Ballantyne. And they can connect with Melt Homes, again, on all social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter as well.
look, I did promise Grace I'll be respectful of the time, and massive thanks for today, and massive thanks for your time as well. I know there may be one or two questions. Fantastic. At some point I'll be doing much more in-depth Facebook live interviews, so do watch your space. And of course, if you haven't booked your ticket, why not? bequeenevents.com. Absolutely. So it's an amazing event. I haven't even publicised some of the lenders who are going to be in the room, who aren't on the panel, to be fair. So some significant names. There's a number of architectural companies in the room that night as well. I'm really looking forward to it because Jax Jiggins, who's co-host of the event, has brought people to the event I've not met before, but let's say they've got significant backgrounds in property as well. So look, massive thanks for the moment. Bye for now.
See you on Thursday.